In a not too distant past when everyone was working, we would get up and go to our jobs. We would put up with the corrupt bosses and deal every day with those heavy work demands placed on our shoulders. I'm sure you remember some of them. My boss is a jerk. He treats us like crap, degrades me, talks down to me, and he gives or promotes the other for my accomplishments. We would go home and listen to our spouses' complaints of the same nature. We would listen to the news and hear of how the politicians are going to take more money from us in one form or another. In the 80s, when there was talk of a Gulf War, the oil prices would shoot up, so we would pay more at the pump. Then the food increased, so we had to work longer hours on top of the fact those same politicians would charge us more. Some even got a second job, which in turn affected the family. As a family, many households fell apart. It was easy for the politicians to play games with the people, as who's going to complain, as we had to deal with going to those jobs after all. Who had the time to complain, and what good did it do? Most employers thought to keep you from getting a raise. They were against the unions and finally were paid to move the business out of state and or out of the country for cheaper wages. Corporate America, as it was called. Then came 9/11, in which the whole process was accelerated to the point of which it gave not only the employers but government more authority over the people. They started to lay off people in the thousands, creating what we have now as the large unemployment numbers. Now the people had enough of their shrinking payroll checks and higher fees or taxes. So now we had another election from the 8 years of George Bush. We had all hoped for a new beginning but were deceived in thinking things were going to be better. Now the Congress lied to everyone, that unless the banks were bailed out, those same banks, and Wall Street that created this mess, so the U.S. budget went through the roof. We had more layoffs, and the politicians played games with them, who had no jobs, and were collecting unemployment. Many of them refused to help the unemployed but still voted on bills that kept the banks from going under while people lost everything and were forced to live in tents. Today still they are creating an hostile atmosphere as the news media has joined the many who think the unemployed are lazy and rather sit on the ass and collect when they should be looking for work. Work? Where are these jobs that we are supposed to apply to? After all, they claim the state's unemployment rate has gone down, so where are these jobs? We all know that these rates are down because of those who have run out of unemployment. Yet they still lie to us, instead of helping the people. A video on YouTube I saw today from the senator from New Hampshire to call for a cancellation of all unemployment benefits. How can they turn their backs on the American people while still expecting us to support them? You see, they don't have to worry about themselves. As you look for work, nowadays, you see these employers are offering low pay for the work. They want you to take, knowing well at hand people can't afford to live on this, so as to keep you in poverty, and the government rich in their taxes, kickbacks. The news stations would rather talk about other things other than what really matters, the people. So today we have 15 million people who are in need of a job, yet employers as well as the government turn their greedy heads away. Just like they wanted several years ago. Kind of makes you think this was set up by design, doesn't it? When the people run out of unemployment, they'll have no choice to apply for food stamps and other programs. What those politicians can't see, this costs the states more when it would be easy to extend unemployment. Do they prefer we all just die off? That will be their solution.